My question is to the Minister of Children, Community, Social Services, responsible for women's issues. Recently, the North Bay Nugget released a staggering article titled "Domestic Abuse Escalating in the Region." The article highlights that the OPP reported that the rates of domestic abuse in Northern Ontario increased by 150%. Sadly, we know that victims of domestic abuse are often women. This is an alarming trend that we are seeing across Ontario, including in the region of Peel. Speaker, I can confidently say that our government finds these numbers appalling and unacceptable. Can the minister explain to this House the steps our government for the people is taking to make Ontario safer for women and girls across this province?
Minister of Children, Community and Social Services.
I'd like to thank the member for her question. This government is going to continue to build on our historic investment of $174.5 million in funding for violence against women's services. That's why we're also tapping into a network of community partners, including about 900 member organizations, agencies and partners to help stop violence against women and improve services for survivors. Sex trafficking, as we all know, is Ontario's dirty little secret, and I want to assure all members of this Assembly and every person in the province of Ontario that our government takes that issue particularly seriously, and we're going to continue to build on the strong work of the Minister of Labour, Laurie Scott, and that is why we are doing a number of different things, like not only talking to those 900 member organizations, but we are created a task table within our own multi-ministerial. We do have consultations ongoing with the member from Mississauga Centre and the member from Cambridge. In addition to that, I'm working with the federal government so that we can bring more attention to this issue and more funding. Thank you very much.
Supplementary.
Mr. Speaker, I would like to thank the Minister for her tireless efforts in combating violence against women and girls across this province, and for standing up for vulnerable women each and every day. Speaker, Northern Ontario is home to many Indigenous communities. Sadly, Indigenous women continue to experience significantly greater rates of violence in Ontario. Indigenous women are 3 times more likely to experience violence than non-Indigenous women, and they are 2.5 times more likely to experience spousal violence. Speaker, these statistics are not only heartbreaking, but they are intolerable. Can the minister please explain what our government is doing to work with our Indigenous communities to combat this disturbing trend?
Minister.
I had an opportunity while at the United Nations to work with some Indigenous partners from across Canada to talk about some of the work that we're doing here in the province of Ontario. By working together with our Indigenous partners, we are developing and delivering policies and programs that put an end to violence against Indigenous women. The ministry supports Indigenous-led public education, prevention campaigns, and community-based services such as the Family Wellbeing Program, which supports Indigenous families and communities in addressing the effects of intergenerational violence and trauma and reducing interactions with child protective services. The Gana Way to Win, Taking Care of Each Other's Spirit, which raises awareness about the signs of domestic violence so that people close to and at-risk woman or abusive partner know what to do to help. But I appeal not just to women in this Assembly and across the province to support Indigenous women who are being at risk of violence. I encourage all strong men across this province, including in this chamber, to take a strong stand against violence against women, in particular Indigenous women who are at a greater risk of violence within their own homes.